Hello, my name is Jenny Rozelle. I'm an estate and elder law attorney with Indiana Estate and Elder Law. In today's topic, we're going to be talking about the things that someone should do or at least be thinking of following a loved one's passing. And sometimes it feels like there's a lot to do, and sometimes it feels like there's a lot to think about. And so for that reason, many years ago, we actually created a little handout of some of the things that you should be doing and thinking of. And so anytime we have a client that notifies us of their loved one's passing, we actually send this out just to kind of give them something to hold on to and to start kind of moving in the right direction. But what I often tell people is, often things don't need to happen immediately. There are of course things that do, but many of my business and legal affairs that, where I can help really don't. They can wait. You really need to take time for yourself and to grieve and be in the moment. Of course, things that cannot wait are, arranging for the funeral if it hasn't been prearranged and getting through the funeral. Pets, if the person had pets, we have to find a game plan for who is taking care of the pets. If the person was still employed, we need to make sure that the employer is appropriately notified. Or even, perhaps the house and belongings need to be appropriately secured until we get rolling on the legal and business affairs. Beyond that, once things settle down a little bit and it's appropriate to, get a meeting scheduled with someone like us, I really break it down on on the things that should be done or that you should be thinking about, really from a standpoint of, is the person single that passed away, or was the person married? And, when someone's married, oftentimes the list of things to do and be thinking of is a little bit shorter. So what I mean by that is, following the first passing in a married couple, a lot of the things that should occur after someone's passing is more just kind of logistical, administrative things. They really don't, I suppose another way to say it is they really don't involve someone like me. We're always happy to be a resource, of course, but things, I guess a couple examples that come to mind are shifting assets from joint ownership to now just the surviving owner. And perhaps like making claims on things like retirement accounts and life insurance policies and getting them rolled over to the beneficiary. Beyond that, I know another thing to keep in mind is, perhaps you need to pull out your estate plan. And if you had the person that passed away listed in those documents, it may be a good idea to possibly revise those, bump off the person that passed away and kind of bump up people that may have already been listed in the documents. Beyond that, so long as assets are relatively either jointly owned between the person that passed away and the joint owner, or maybe they're beneficiary designated, so long as we're in that category, oftentimes, like I mentioned earlier, there aren't really things for me to do. So things like probate or sometimes trust administration, those usually aren't needed. Though, as just sort of a courtesy, I always tell people that you're always welcome to call, and especially if you're one of our clients, we'll take a hard look at the file to see if there is anything that really truly does need to be done. And even if you are not a client of our firm, it's probably appropriate that you meet with an attorney just to make sure your T's are crossed and I's are dotted. You don't want to find out about those too late. So then when I shift over to someone that's single, and maybe someone's single that has passed away, and one of the first things that really needs to be done following the funeral and following when things calm down a little bit is locating the estate plan. Did this person have a will? Did this person have a trust? A little insider secret. One thing I hear all the time is, I'm so-and-so's power of attorney. So-and-so passed away. Power of attorney is actually terminated at passing. And so the appropriate person to, consult with an attorney is, if the person has a will, the executor or the personal representative, or if the person that passed away had a trust, the successor trustee that's designated. Or, however, if they don't have an estate plan, then, there's sort of a pecking order in our statutes that gives sort of who should be the one stepping up to kind of take charge of the estate and the affairs following that person's passing. So sort of high on that priority list is locating the estate plan. For that reason, I often discourage clients to put their estate plan in a safety deposit box. Banks often don't like letting anyone in that safety deposit box besides the person, and the person has passed away at this point. So for that reason, I actually discourage safety deposit boxes being the home of your estate plan. Something else is go ahead and getting an appointment scheduled with an estate attorney like myself, or if you're welcome to reach out to us if you need an out-of-state referral as well. But someone that does this field, it's really, really appropriate to have an attorney that has your back, that's already familiar with this field. And so getting an appointment scheduled is probably very prudent. That's what's going to get the ball rolling in terms of whether a probate process needs to happen, or maybe a trust administration needs to happen, or maybe you just need to figure out what are the next steps. A lot of those next steps are identified in an appointment with an attorney. And so, beyond those, it's really hard to generalize, what the process is following someone's passing from my perspective. But of course, a lot of the things that naturally occur, for example, is, oftentimes the funeral home will notify Social Security, and they get notified, as does Medicare oftentimes. And so sometimes you have to watch, if the decedent, the person that passed away, got a payment from Social Security, for example, and maybe it was, it should have not been owed to the deceased person. They may get it back. But, there's a lot of little things like this that, that's why we created this, is to kind of make sure that the person that's in charge has a general idea of what needs to happen. But, as just a general rule of thumb, I would highly recommend just getting an appointment scheduled with an estate attorney to really hone in on your specific situation and identify what the appropriate next steps are. My last little tidbit is, from a single person standpoint, if you're a beneficiary and you may be receiving an inheritance, whether through a will, through a trust, it may not be a bad idea to take a look at your own estate plan. And, you're going to be possibly walking into an inheritance, and whether it's small or large, that's going to be a shift in your own personal estate. And so, that shift, you want to make sure jives with what your, current estate plan looks like. So, if there's anything that my office can do to support you, and especially if you're going through, a time such as losing a loved one, please feel free to reach out. We pride ourselves in being a resource, not only to clients, but, individuals that we don't even have a prior relationship with, and maybe they're, a loved one passed away in their life, and maybe you're just looking for some guidance there. Again, this is Jenny Rozelle from Indiana Estate and Elder Law, and I welcome you to give us a call, 317-863-2030, or you can check out our website. It has a whole bunch of great information on it as well, and that is indianaestateelderlaw.com. Thank you.